Hello and welcome to the Downsized. My name is Laraine Durham, and this is the channel where we talk about weight loss with GLP-1 medications. GLP-1 medications are Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, semaglutide, and Tirzepatide. I've personally lost over 50 pounds on Tirzepatide, and in this series called our Downsized Dish series, we talk to real people just like you and me who have lost weight using a GLP-1 medication. I'd like to say before we get started that I'm not a doctor. My guest is not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just based on our personal experiences. If you're interested in getting started with the GLP-1 medication, please check with your doctor or your healthcare professional. I hope you will like and subscribe to The Downsized. We put out videos every single day, so I hope you will come along with us on this journey. Well, today we're welcoming Jeanette to The Downsized Dish. Welcome, Jeanette.
Thank you, Lorraine. I'm so happy to be here.
Hey, well, Jeanette, tell us about yourself.
Sure. I'm 55 years old and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I am queer and Latina and I have PCOS, which has been wreaking havoc with my life ever since puberty.
Wow.
I, yeah, I have lived with obesity since puberty because of the PCOS.
Mhm.
If you're not familiar with it, it basically affects a woman's hormones and their ability to reproduce and be
Yep.
fertile and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have been on compounded Tirzepatide since June of 2025.
Okay.
And as of today, I've lost 76 pounds.
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations. You said Pacific Northwest. Where exactly are you in the world?
I'm in Oregon.
Oregon. Okay. Okay. All right. Awesome. And all right. So tell us about your. You said you lost 75 pounds. Yep. Awesome.
76, 75, give or take, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And how tall are you, Jeanette?
I'm 5'8".
5'8". Okay, so that's kind of tall. All right, awesome. Well, so tell us about your journey getting to a GLP-1 medication. What led you to that point?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said in my intro, I have been obese my entire life, and that is a result of a bunch of different things. PCOS is a main one, but
Yeah.
also I developed an eating disorder very early
Okay.
in my life.
Mm,
Um, and there was an inordinate amount of attention, negative attention paid to my body. And one of the ways that I had to deal with that was to hide food and eat in secret. And I
mhm,
developed a binge eating disorder along with a
yeah.
bunch of other things. So I have been overweight or have had overweight my entire adult life.
Mhm,
And the last time I went on a diet was in 2015, 2011.
mhm,
And I realized that my disordered eating got worse when
mhm.
I restricted the types of food I could eat, when I could eat,
Yeah,
what I could eat, all that stuff, all the stuff that
yeah.
goes along with dieting would make my binge eating disorder worse. So
Right.
that's when I stopped. I decided to stop trying to lose weight and I decided to try and be as healthy as I could be.
Okay.
Um, but that didn't quite work out because the underlying cause, the eating disorder,
Mhm.
was still really active. And I was still binge
Hmm.
eating once a week. And it was, I was still using food for comfort and to deal with my
Yeah.
emotions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then in 2021, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Uh,
And I had tried my adult life many different times to deal with my disordered eating. But that diabetes, um, was a wake-up call for me, and I realized that if I didn't take care of my relationship with food, if I didn't fix it once and for all, I
yeah.
was going to end up losing limbs, losing my eyesight, all the things that go with unregulated type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
So I did a very earnest, effort, and I worked really hard to work on binge eating. And my recovery process was long and arduous and incredibly successful and very rewarding.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, so by the time I got to June of 2025, I was having a conversation with my doctor, and she said, I know that you're having X, Y, and Z problems because of your overweight. And by that point, I was 407 pounds.
Okay.
Um, and I had topped my weight at 430 6 months earlier. So I had already
Mhm.
lost some weight by
Yeah.
June. And she said, why don't we try Zepbound? And I said, oh, okay, well, let's try Zepbound. And it was the best, on top of like, other than my recovery journey, taking Tirzepatide was the best option I have ever made for
Yeah.
myself.
Now you never had, like, the Mounjaro for the type 2 diabetes? Were you using anything like that for your type 2?
Yeah, I was, and still am at the highest dose of metformin, and I
Okay.
have been taking blood pressure medication and medication for my, PCOS to regulate the
Yeah.
hormones. So I'm in a cocktail of medication. But I have been wearing a continuous glucose monitor. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if you know what that is.
I do,
Uh,
kind of.
okay. Yeah, okay, for the people who may not know who are watching this, it's
Yeah.
basically a little doodad about, like, the size of a American quarter that you
Mhm.
put on your arm. It's a needle that goes in your arm, and it stays there
Mhm.
for 50 days, and it connects to an app on your phone, and it
Mhm.
measures your blood sugar every, depends on the brand that you use, every 3 minutes, every 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So, well, in essence, you have a picture of 2 weeks worth um, of data on how your blood sugar is doing, and I had
Yeah.
been wearing this blood sugar, these monitors for a few months, and it doesn't, I was eating really nutritious whole foods,
Mhm.
and my blood sugar was still spiking. Like,
Hmm.
my doctor was very unhappy. She actually thought it was time to put me on a second medication
Oh.
for diabetes, because my blood
Mhm.
sugar was still unregulated regardless
Mhm.
of how well I was eating. So the Zepbound, I took Zepbound for a month, and then I switched to compounded. Within a month, my sugars were all level. Like, I could see the general spikes that happen in normal life when you eat and when
Yeah.
you work out and whatever, but it
Mhm.
was like a drastic, like ping pong
Yeah.
table. It was incredibly effective for the blood sugar on top of everything else.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you about the binge eating disorder. Did you work with a therapist? How did you get through that?
Well, it was a combination of things. I started with uh, a Vipassana or insight meditation practice,
Mhm.
and I still do that to this day.
Okay.
I also worked with a um, health at every size, body positive therapist.
Okay.
And I also worked with a nutritionist who was informed and specialized in disordered eating.
Gotcha.
So, and I was already doing a lot. I'm very, very curious. I'm an incredibly curious person, and I
Mhm.
get bored if I'm not learning new things. So I had already done a lot of research on, intuitive eating and the ways in which, people have recovered from binge eating disorder in a positive way.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that I was doing is I was attending weekly meetings of a thing called Recovery Dharma, which is a Buddhist-based
Oh,
program for people in recovery of all sorts of things.
interesting.
Substance, alcohol, and
Mhm.
what is called process addictions, which is things that aren't necessarily physically addictive, but are still like gambling, for example,
Oh.
and food. And those things do have a physical component, of course,
Mhm.
because our
Okay.
brains get the dopamine hit and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a combination of a lot of things, and it all seemed to gel.
Good job. And I
Yeah.
asked just because I know others struggle with that, so they, maybe somebody else could take something away from that. I know it's a hard thing to get a handle on. So that's awesome that you were able to find the right combination of therapies for you. So you found the Zepbound and you started taking that, and then you're just off to the races with the weight loss.
Yeah, so what happened, so this is what happened at the beginning of 2025. Like I said, I've been working on trying to figure out like what I could eat so that my blood sugar wasn't spiking so much.
Yeah.
So I tried keto, I tried, low carb, I tried everything that
Hmm.
was recommended. And Um, at the beginning of the year, I thought, okay, I'm going to start eating plant-based whole foods, period. And I'll have a processed something if I feel like it, because
Mhm.
when you're doing intuitive eating, and because of binge eating, like, you can't, if you tell me I can't eat
Right.
broccoli, I will binge eat on broccoli. That's the way
Right.
it
Just
works.
because if you tell me I can't have it, that's what I want. Yeah. No matter what
Exactly.
it is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I started eating that way at the beginning of the year, and I was losing on average a pound and a half, 2 pounds a month,
Yeah.
which when you're 400 and plus pounds, that is not particularly that is not encouraging for someone
Right.
who
It's
was
not
I
what
was basic yeah, I was
yeah.
basically disabled because I couldn't move, my knees were hurting,
Yeah.
taking a shower would exhaust me. I would have to recuperate for 2 hours after taking a
Yeah.
shower.
Mm.
It yeah, so, the Zepbound came I started Zepbound, and I started dropping a lot of weight, and a lot of it was inflammation because
Yeah.
I used to have, like, a softball-sized inflammation like, around my ankles, like, on top of my feet.
Mhm.
It all inflammation, and when my doctor saw me last, she said, "Oh, that's because of the diabetes and the overweight."
Mm.
And, um, and so the first month, those 2 balls had diminished in size about
Wow.
35, like, they were only 35% left. It was only 35%
Wow.
left.
There's just
And
the
by
fluid
the
in there just
rest
went down.
yeah, just kept
Yeah.
dropping the water,
Yeah.
and, my joint pain got diminished, and then it went away completely. Like, my knees and my ankles haven't hurt at all.
Yeah.
And the weight on top of the water weight that I was losing, I was also losing fat. Um,
Mhm.
was averaging about 3.5 pounds a week
Yeah.
for the first 6 months.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and the one thing this is when I started watching your channel, and
Mhm.
around the same time that I started taking Tirzepatide, I watched this episode where you said that obesity is a disease and it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And when I stepped on the scale and I noticed that I hadn't changed my eating, I was, like, nothing, I hadn't moved more, I hadn't done anything different. And the difference between losing a pound a month and losing, 9 to 10
3 or
pounds a
4.
month,
Mhm.
it
Oh,
was
thank
self-explanatory. you know?
yeah. I mean, that really is the proof's, right there, right? So,
Mm.
normally, your average weight loss on these medications is about 1% of your body weight per week. So someone that's 300 pounds or 400 pounds is going to lose that 3 to 4 pounds a week.
Yep.
That's 1%, right? So that's right in there. That's right in the average range. And just for your body to be able to take out that inflammation, y- and we say it all the time, but I don't think we can say it enough. Obesity is a disease. It's not our fault. Our body is storing what we're eating as fat for later because it thinks we're going to starve to death.
Mhm.
It's dysregulated, right? So when we take these medications, our bodies get the signal, oh, we're not starving to death. I don't need to store all this in here anymore. I can use some as energy. It goes
Yep.
other places. And all of a sudden, we start dropping weight and it's like, I'm not really changing what I'm eating. I'm not really doing anything different. But now our body is getting the signal that we don't have to store all that we eat as energy for later. So it's just such an amazing process. So as
It
you
feels
started
like a miracle. It feels like a miracle, really.
yeah, I mean, right. I mean, I want to say it's like magic, but it's science, right? It's modern medicine, and it's amazing. So as you're losing these pounds, and these pounds are coming off every week and every month, tell me how your mobility changed, your life changed.
Yeah, well, I no longer need to take a break after I take a shower.
Oh,
That's really
good.
fantastic. Yeah, so the pain was g g okay, so my feet were so inflamed that the biggest shoes I owned were so tight, it was uncomfortable
Mhm.
for me to walk,
Mhm.
regardless of regardless of my size, the fact that the
Yeah.
shoes were so tight. The first time I walked down the stairs and went to my car without any pain, I was pretty shocked,
Yeah.
and the time that I didn't need the seatbelt extender, and the moment that my belly didn't touch my steering wheel anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I can now go up and down the stairs. I live on a second floor apartment. I can
Mhm.
go up and down the stairs without getting winded.
Yeah.
It has changed my life. I'm
Yeah.
still slower than I would like to be, and I'm still heavier than I would like to be, but I'm no longer constrained to living
Right.
a really tight little world because
Yeah.
my body is supporting me, and going out into
Yeah.
the world and doing things.
Oh, that's amazing to go from being so not able to even walk because your shoes are so tight to being
Mhm.
able to go up and down the stairs, and, that's great. That's awesome. So tell me about your, maybe your dose of Tirzepatide. Are you on the highest dose now, or where are you with that?
No, I started at 2.5, which is where
Okay.
everybody starts,
Yeah.
and within 2 weeks, I knew that I was, 1, going to stay on the medication, and
Mhm.
2, wasn't gonna be able to afford paying, Lilly direct prices.
Yeah.
So, I immediately started shopping for compounded tirzepatide, and I stayed on 2.5,
Mhm.
and the one thing there was this I lived with this disconnect between my head and my body most of
Mhm.
my adult life, and
Mhm.
one of the things that I had to fight really hard to do was to get my mind to pay attention to what my body needed.
Hmm.
So as part of my recovery, I employed various different tools to pay attention to my hunger cues, because I would go hours without drinking anything, without eating anything. I would go hours with a full bladder because I wasn't paying it. I was so disconnected from my
Mm.
body that I
Mhm.
wasn't listening to the signals.
Yeah.
So I was one of the things that I was really worried about when I started Zepbound was what's going to happen with my hunger cues, because they were
Mhm.
hard fought and I didn't want to be disconnected from my body.
Yeah.
And my doctor just smiled and she said, "Well, food noise and hunger cues are 2 different things." And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But what happened when I started with 2.5 is that my hunger cues disappeared and I panicked.
Oh,
Because I panicked because I
you
had spent
panicked.
4 years. Oh, yeah. I had spent 4 years learning how to listen to my body, and my body wasn't
Oh,
saying anything.
and now you weren't getting the signal anymore. "Oh, no, what do I do?" Yeah, I can imagine
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
would have a terrifying effect. Yeah.
It was terrifying, and so I went back to my old, tools that I was using at the beginning of recovery. I
Mhm.
started eating mechanically,
Mm.
and mechanical eating is where you schedule yourself to eat at
Okay.
certain times, and you stick to those times, and even
Okay.
if it's just 1 bite, you stick to those times, and what that does
Mhm.
is it puts your body and your mind and becomes aware of what your body's needing again.
Okay.
So, a couple of weeks after, doing mechanical eating again, it's also called eating on the clock,
Yeah.
my hunger cues started coming back, and I was so happy.
Oh,
I
good.
was I was so happy and so relieved because I was
Yeah.
listening to my body again. I had regained that relationship that I thought had been severed.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to go up too fast
Right.
with the tirzepatide because I didn't want to interfere with my communication
Yeah,
between
I
my
get that.
views
Yeah.
and my mind.
Mhm.
So I stayed on 2.5 for, I wanna say, a couple months,
Mhm.
and I was losing weight at a normal pace, that
Yeah.
1% that you mentioned, so I wasn't in any hurry to go up. And what I realized is that I wanted, like, I had a little bit of a snag where I was like, "Wait a minute, like, this is not working." Like, I had a few weeks when I stopped losing weight, and I thought, "Okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't wanna go up from 2.5 to 5. That's too much. That may potentially take me back to not having hunger
The
cues
hunger
anymore."
cues. Yeah.
So I went up really slowly. I'm
Mhm.
currently on 7 milligrams a week, but
Okay.
it took a long time to get there. Like, I went from 2.5 to 3.5, and then I went to 4.5, and
Yeah.
like really slowly, just making sure to pay attention to what my body
Yeah.
was needing.
That's huh? Hmm. Let's show some of your pictures. I completely forgot. Yeah. Let's show your pictures. Tell us about these pictures, Jeanette.
This is me when I was 18 years old. That's about a
Okay.
size 12.
Yeah, a normal, healthy
Yeah,
18-year-old.
but
Yep.
I had gotten there by starving myself.
Oh, mhm.
I had gotten there by drinking only milk and orange juice for the entire day and then having a very, very light dinner.
Sounds
So,
familiar. Yeah.
yeah. So, this is me in the summer of 1988. I was 18 years old and I was miserable.
Oh,
Despite the fact that I loved the clothing that I was wearing and I loved the fact that I was about to go off to college, I was miserable.
yeah.
And yeah, and that's how I remained miserable for decades. And so that's why I wanted to start with that, because the fact that I'm living in a body that is currently a size 30
Mhm.
and I'm happy it's a deep contrast to the person who is standing there in that picture who is a size 10, 12 and is
Yeah.
miserable.
It just goes to show you never know what's going on within a person, right? Because from the outside, from the picture, you look like a perfectly happy, healthy young lady, and on the inside, like you said, you were miserable because you were starving yourself to achieve that size. Yeah, let's show those other pictures. Tell us about these,
Yeah.
Jeanette.
So the one on the left is my license picture. I don't take pictures very often. I don't, I
Yeah,
don't. I took a lot of pictures in my 30s, and then when I hit 40, I just stopped taking pictures. So this picture is from my driver's license in California, and this was in 2013,
okay.
2011, something like that. And that's when I had done my last diet. And
Okay.
that's the reason why I brought this picture up, is because that was my last diet. And I think I was in the middle 300s then. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And the next picture on the right, that's me at my highest weight. That's me at 430 pounds.
Okay. All right. Well, you can definitely see you're a bit smaller in your face now looking at you today. So, 75 pounds, that's a substantial amount of weight for sure.
Yeah, it is. And I am going to be taking pictures now from now on. Well, moving
Okay,
forward,
good.
I've been
Yeah.
taking full body pictures, because the face only tells you so much.
Right. No, that's true. And I understand, not taking pictures when you're at those higher weights because, who wants? I don't want to see myself at higher weight. When I'm hiding in the back or hiding behind my children or, so
Yeah.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. So you went up very slowly, and I think that is great that you did that for a lot of reasons, but you were listening to your body, right? So, um, and I love that you were tuning into those hunger cues. So, although your food noise had diminished, you're not thinking about food all the time. You still wanted to be connected to your body to be hungry at those meal times, right? At those clock specific times. I think that's great because that also was cueing you to remember to eat because sometimes our hunger does get tamped down a bit with the medication. So remembering to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So a lot of people forget. I occasionally forget to eat, which is crazy because I've never missed a meal in my life. So, but
Yeah.
talk to me about. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that because I have type 2 diabetes, it's really important that my blood sugar remains stable. And the only way to do
Right.
that is to eat on
Yeah.
a regular basis. So, you
Gotcha.
know,
That's a great point. That's a great point too. Um, with the compounded, you're able to kind of adjust your dose like that. Did you work with your doctor on that, or are you going through a telehealth provider? How are you doing that?
yeah. So, like I said, my doctor was very open to me. She's
Mhm.
the one who suggested I take the medication. And when I
Uh-huh.
told her that I loved that it was going well and whatnot, but I couldn't afford to pay $500 a month,
Yeah.
because who can?
Right.
Um, uh, I said, do you know any compounding pharmacies that I could go
Yeah.
through? And she said, no, I don't have, I have no idea. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So I went and did my research and
Yeah.
I started with Brello.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, this was at the cusp when they were very delayed, but
Uh-huh.
had not yet told people that they were delayed. So
Uh-huh.
I could see my vials of Zepbound getting, fewer and fewer vials,
Yeah.
and I was panicking because I didn't want to stop taking the medication. So
Right.
I immediately jumped and got, another medication from another pharmacy, from
Yeah.
another telehealth. And so now I have a little bit of a stockpile. So I have been I've been chasing the sales and trying to minimize the cost per milligram.
Yeah.
Um, so I have been on compounded Tirzepatide from, the 503A pharmacies and
Mhm.
503B pharmacies. I haven't, some of them have been with vitamin B12 and vitamin
Right.
B6 or without
Right.
any additional, components of the
Yeah.
medication. It's all the same. It's,
It's all the same. Yeah.
it's all working. It all keeps the food noise gone. It all, helps me, helps my body regulate my metabolism, and it's all good.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
that's a great point. Uh, Different pharmacies, they're all the same. It's the Tirzepatide that's working. I think a lot of
yeah,
people get hung up with a specific combination or a specific pharmacy, but I certainly haven't experienced that. So it's great to know that you had the same experience over there on the other side of the country. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so well, let's talk about what you're eating. Or do you have things that you like to eat? Are you eating any special way?
yeah. So again, because I do eat intuitively, I eat what my body wants, and
Hmm.
I have a couple of rules. One of them is I eat mostly in season produce. So
Okay.
right now it's a lot of butternut squash, delicata squash, like all the squashes because
Mhm.
Pacific Northwest, I grew up in Honduras, and that's
Okay.
right next to the equator, and there was no such thing as like tomato season. There's tomatoes that are available all the time.
Right.
but but anyway, so I try my best without being too regimented to eat 30 plants a week. And the
30
reason why
plants a week. 30
yeah,
different plants a week.
30 different plants a week. Yeah.
That's a lot.
And it is. And the reason why I started doing that is because it really helps with your gut microbiome. There's
Okay.
a study, I can send you a link to the study if you'd like
Sure.
about that. And basically, all beans, all grains, all spices, all vegetables, all fruit, they all count as a plant. So
Okay.
if I'm, and since I eat mostly vegetarian food, one of the
Uh-huh.
things that happened when I started Tirzepatide is I lost my taste for beef.
Huh.
It grosses me out. I can't stand even the smell of it. Like,
Really?
I have no idea why. Like, it,
Yeah.
you know. So
Was it
now
something you really liked before? Was it something you ate all the time before?
all the
Yeah,
time. Oh
all
my
the
God, all
time.
the time. I'm a beef girl. Like, I don't care for chicken or duck or any other fowl.
Mhm,
I don't particularly like fish. Um,
mhm.
but beef was my go-to, and
Huh,
now I'm
that's
put off.
nice. Yeah, so what are you doing for protein now that you're not
Well,
really into being
yeah, so the 3 top, protein, beans are chickpeas, lentils, and soybeans. So I
mhm.
make sure to have at least 1 serving of those with every meal. And
Okay.
then, of course, things like quinoa and farro and,
Mhm.
sorghum and, all sorts of different they all have their own components of, protein. So
So
if I'm eating a plate of, you know 1 grain, 5 vegetables, 5 different spices, like, if I'm eating that way, I'm getting my 25 grams of protein a meal.
okay.
So, yeah, so, I do take a protein shake when I'm feeling lazy and I don't feel like cooking. I
Yeah.
have this Isopure protein powder that's got no
Mhm.
flavor, no additional anything.
Okay.
Um, and I have a bunch of frozen fruit in the freezer, and I just make myself a smoothie, and,
It
that
works.
works too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's mostly vegetables and fruit and, it's mostly vegetarian,
Yeah.
and I love eating that way, it just
That's
yeah.
really interesting how the beef turned off. I hear people talking about, coffee turned off or alcohol turned off, and, uh, we don't often hear about specific foods, but so that's really interesting how that worked. Did you have any side effects at all during this process?
Well, one of the things that I learned in teaching myself to eat intuitively and then through my recovery is people think that intuitive eating is a free for all. This is what they think, and they don't understand.
I want donuts. My body wants donuts. Let me go get some donuts. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's not all of it.
Yeah.
The intuitive eating is about removing the moral component about food. Like,
Hmm.
Cheetos are not any morally better or worse than broccoli. They just are. And that's one of the components. The other component is pay attention to your body and how it feels after you have eaten the Cheetos and
Oh, I like that.
after you have eaten the broccoli. Like, how does your
Mhm.
body feel? And then you get to make a conscious decision as to whether you're going to eat whatever it is that you're going to eat and whether it's
Mhm.
worth the consequences.
Oh,
For
I love that.
example, I love Cheetos. I think that the weird, like orange, it's like it engages all my senses. The weird
Yeah.
orange color, the grime on the fingers, like all of it. I love eating Cheetos. But what happens is that I get really bad heartburn
Oh,
after I eat Cheetos. This is before Tirzepatide. This is way
yeah.
before. And
Gotcha.
so when I feel like buying a bag of Cheetos, the question is, okay, am I willing to put up with the
Oh.
consequences? Do I really
Mhm.
want to have the heartburn?
Mm.
The majority of the time, I don't. I don't want to have the
Yeah.
heartburn. So I don't eat the Cheetos. But if one day I'd say, well, you know what? It's worth it. I really want Cheetos, and I eat it, and it's really okay. You
I
know,
love that.
it's really
I love that how you stop and think about the last time you ate it and how it made you feel.
Mhm.
Um, because I think a lot of times we're just shoving food in our face, right? Even on the medication, there's nothing stopping me from grabbing a handful of Cheetos and shoving it in my mouth, right?
Yeah.
So, but if I stop and think, oh, last time I ate those Cheetos, it just put the hurt on me. I don't want to feel like that. Maybe I'll pick something else that
Yeah.
where I feel better after I eat it. I love that. I love that just the stopping and thinking and making the conscious choice.
Well, putting that pause in between the desire and the action is where recovery happens.
Ah,
And and I would binge eat at least once a week.
mhm,
And the noticing the desire to binge eat and
mhm,
then putting a pause in there before
mhm,
the action
mhm.
and strengthening that practice is where
Yeah.
recovery happens. And I failed many, many times. I would desire to binge eat. I would notice a desire. I would say, fuck it. And I would, excuse me. And I would do it anyway, you know,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah,
but
and
still,
yeah.
yeah, slowly but surely with a lot of self-love, a lot of self-compassion, that pause became longer and the decisions changed because I
That's
was
interesting.
cooperating with my body and giving myself other tools to deal with the angst and the anger and the frustration and the whatever.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, who hasn't sat down with, a bag of cookies and you look down, the bag's gone, or the whole bag of chips is gone, or, I eat one thing in the pantry and then what else and what else and what else, and before I know it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
So I really like that stopping and pausing and paying attention to what you're eating and how it makes you feel. And I mean, I think everyone who has lived with obesity has battled these feelings at some point.
Yeah. For me, the way that I did it, and it was not intentional in any way, is I went to recovery. I was binge free for over a year
Mhm.
before my doctor and I talked about Zepbound.
Okay.
And so all the things that I hear people talk about in terms of they take the medication and then their relationship with food they start noticing all these things about their relationship with food.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any of that because I had
Yeah.
already dealt with
You've
it.
already worked through all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, so for me, it's been pretty easy sailing, except for the
Yeah.
times when I'm like, oh God, I really don't want to have to cook again, um, which we all get all the time, no
Sure.
matter what.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been pretty smooth sailings. I did all the really, really hard work before.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
a lot of times I've had psychiatrists on our show, and we've talked about how important therapy is and how therapy can go alongside with weight loss. And I think it's something that most people either aren't able to take advantage of or don't take advantage of. And it really can make a difference in our relationship with food, how we've learned to, deal with our own personal struggles. So I would encourage anyone to, seek some therapy alongside of this journey. Let's talk about, are you able to exercise? Do you do any exercise?
I absolutely love playing games on my VR headset.
Oh, cool.
And the latest one that I've played is called Beat Saber. And basically, you get a saber on each hand, like the Star Wars,
Yeah.
sabers, and you
Uh-huh.
get these boxes coming at you. And what you need to do is get rid of them. And the boxes have different arrows, and so
Oh,
you have to
fun.
not only get rid of the box, but you have to slay it in the correct direction.
Oh.
Um, yes. And yeah, exactly. And so that's a lot of fun. I don't know if you can see behind me, I have some weight, some barbell
Uh-huh.
bars and plates. I absolutely love weight training. I absolutely love it, but I don't want to force myself to
Mhm.
exercise.
Yeah.
My attitude is be loving and be gentle with myself,
Yeah.
and the exercise, the movement comes along with it. If I
Mhm.
tell myself that I have to do something, then
Yeah. Yeah.
that's that voice in my head that beats me up for everything. And that voice
Mhm.
has been very quiet in the past few years because I've worked really hard for that voice to be
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah.
So I am moving more naturally because I no longer weigh 100 pounds,
Mhm.
like I lost 100 pounds,
Mhm.
and I play Beat Saber all the time, so I'm
Yeah, I
getting
love
my
that.
cardio workout and I'm getting my,
Mhm.
my legs and whatnot. And
Mhm.
the I love hiking, so the hiking once, the hike, I think in another 30 or 40 pounds I'll be better at have less weight to carry along as I go. I live in such a beautiful part of the country and there's
Yeah.
trails everywhere.
Mhm.
So I'll be able to start, taking more conscious movement
Yeah. Yeah,
trips.
I love
Trips.
that you took something fun and you're getting the movement in just with the fun game, right? And that's how it should be. It should be something we enjoy, that we like to do, that we look forward to. We don't have to exercise to lose weight. I think a lot of times people get those two together and think, "Oh, I gotta go to the gym. I gotta lose weight. I gotta eat less." But it's they're not really connected. Exercise is very helpful, and
Mhm.
muscle does so many great things in our bodies, and in terms of longevity and heart health and
Yeah.
everything. um, but I would really want to tell people that to find something that you like to do, find a movement that you like to do, that's fun, that you enjoy, that you look forward to, playing a game on your computer, or finding a trail near your house. It's cold where I am right now. But yeah, finding an easy trail, a short trail, and build up over time. That sounds really doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that when I was at 430, even if I went to the park to go for a walk, the
Yeah.
number of the amount of attention I got because of my
Yeah.
size
That's a whole 'nother.
was incredibly trying to my nerves. And
Yeah.
so it isn't for me, it isn't just about putting my shoes on and going for a walk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am getting a lot less attention now, but I'm still
Mhm.
430 pounds. I mean 340 pounds, so
Yeah.
I'm still huge in comparison to what I, should be. And
But you're
so,
100 pounds less than you were.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, like I love doing yoga, I love doing my Beat Saber game, and the rest of it will come. I have no doubt because I love movement so much. It's
Yeah.
just
There's a
nothing
lady
wrong.
that we've interviewed for the channel. Her name is Mona, and she's also on TikTok, Mona Unlocking Life. And she was in Ireland. She started over 500 pounds. and now she's lost down to, I think, the low 300s. And she talks about that too, how now when she goes out, she's an overweight person, but she's not someone people stop and point
Yeah.
and gawk at. And that was big for her. You know what I mean? It enabled her to be able to move through the world even better. So
Yeah, more comfortably, definitely.
yeah. But anyway, that's just that, and I've heard people say that. We've interviewed another guy, Jamie Seltzler. He's lost 360 pounds.
I know. I saw his interview.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. So, these medicines are really just amazing for people at all different levels. So I'm glad it's working for you. So have you had has it helped your PCOS? You mentioned that at the beginning.
Well,
No, it's hard to tell. Yeah.
there's a little bit of TMI. I actually got my period 2 months ago. I haven't had a period in years.
Oh, what's up with that?
Well, I think that's my body just regulate. Now that I have less fat, my hormones, there's less fat hormones live in fat cells.
The
So now that I
estrogens
have
and the
less-
fat cells.
now that I
Mhm.
have less fat, my body's,
Mhm.
rebalancing itself. I'm due for some blood work, and I think I'm going to ask my
Yeah.
doctor to do some blood work, not only on the regular
Yeah.
stuff, but also on hormonal stuff to see.
Are you premenopausal, postmenopausal, or do you even know? Yeah, you haven't even checked. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely, I'm sure you did mention that period to your doctor, but definitely mention that to your doctor and get those levels checked. That might give you some direction there. I know people with PCOS that have been helped with Tirzepatide in just terms of regulation and flushing things out. We're not really
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, another thing that has happened is that one of the side effects of PCOS is the extra body hair. And I used to have a body hair that grew on my chin,
Mm,
and I would have to pluck on a regular basis. And one of the things
yeah.
that I've noticed is that it's not growing as fast and there
Oh,
aren't as many hairs. So there are small little things that I noticed that my body is adjusting, you
yeah.
know. So it's not hurting,
Yeah.
that the Tirzepatide
Yeah.
is not hurting.
Yeah.
And I'll deal with all that, slowly but surely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. If there was somebody that was watching this today, maybe thinking about getting started, what advice would you give them?
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Just do it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is take a scientific approach to the side effects,
Okay.
because if I drink a gallon of water a day, and that includes one electrolyte drink.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't drink my electrolyte drink and my water, I get constipated.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
If I don't eat all the plants and foods that I had planned for the week, if I get lazy and I start eating cheese sandwiches or whatever, like that affects the amount of fiber I'm getting, and that affects the level of like stomach gurgling and acidity
Yeah.
in my stomach,
Yeah.
and so there are foods that are going to impact people's bodies differently because everybody's different.
Right.
So look at what you're eating. I'm not talking about tracking it. If you feel like you need to track, go for it. But I'm talking about, okay, this morning I had eggs and scrambled eggs with peppers, right?
Mhm.
And then in a couple of hours, how is my body feeling? How's my digestion? How's my
Yeah.
brain fog? How is whatever the measurements that you want to do, and
Mm.
then slowly but surely you will find the foods that work for your body on this medication. And if you
It's really
do it that way,
Mhm.
the odds are that you're able to manage your side effects better.
That's a great way of thinking. Not necessarily tracking how many calories or how many of carbs I'm eating, but I ate this meal, scrambled eggs with peppers, and now 2 hours later I feel this way. Good,
Mhm.
bad, stomach rumbling, head hurts, doesn't hurt.
Mhm.
And track those effects that go along with that meal, so you can repeat the things that work for you and stay away from the things that don't make you feel good.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we all want, right? We want to feel good in our bodies. We want to be healthy and strong. And I don't want to eat things that make me feel bad. Although sometimes they taste good going in, I don't want the the bad feeling, the bad feeling later. So it's so important to like keep track of that. And that's something I've never kept track of. I've tracked a lot of things. I've tracked calories, I've tracked points, I've tracked macros, I've tracked water and protein, and never tracked how I felt. And I think that's really important to get in touch with. I think that, and I think you're a great example of someone who's really gotten in touch with the feelings in your body and honored them. And
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work, and the thoughts are still there. Just because
Yeah,
I haven't binged in a year and a half now, doesn't mean that my desire to binge isn't there. You know?
really.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah. Oh yeah. But I now have all these different tools, and I now have all
Yeah,
these. I'll have this huge pause that I can take that
yeah,
prevents me from actually acting on what those feelings are, because I love my body more. And that's another thing. I think
yeah.
people who live with obesity, we are all taught to hate our bodies because something's
Mm,
really wrong with our bodies.
yeah.
No matter if we have 20 pounds of overweight, or if we have 150 pounds of overweight, like hating,
Mhm.
especially as women, hating our bodies comes with being fat.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Looked in
that's
the mirror. I
yeah,
hate this. I hate that. Why
yeah,
can't, yeah. Oh, a million
yeah, that's
times.
the
Yeah.
reality. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so if I work really hard at loving my body and honoring my body and
Mhm.
having my body trust me, then it's a lot
Mm.
easier for me to make a decision on what to put in my body from a
Mm.
perspective of self-love versus a perspective of these people say that this is not the right thing to eat, like these other people on the outside. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
That's such a great way to reframe it. What is gonna work for me? I want to honor my body. I wanna do the best I can for my body, and that comes from a place of self-love, not self-hate. You can't hate your way into a yeah,
Nope.
people have. You did it as an 18-year-old, you were hating your way into a smaller size and miserable, and that's a terrible way to live. I'd much rather live in a place of, I love my body, and love eating these foods that make me feel good, and I want to repeat. I want to repeat these feelings.
Yeah.
It's such a that's really something that I haven't heard any other guest talk about, so I really thank you for coming on and telling us about that, Jeanette, because I think that'll help a lot of people.
My pleasure. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, keep us
Yeah.
posted on your journey. I'd like to, check in with you as you hit those milestones, which I'm sure you're gonna get to, so thank you for coming on today.
Oh, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you and your husband do.
Oh, thanks for
Your
watching. Yeah.
your channel, everything between like the news and the voting and the and the attending conferences and the interviews with you,
Yeah.
they're all so helpful. So thank you so much for doing all of this.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the boating, so I'll talk about the cruise. If you'd like to come with us, we're doing a downsized cruise June 4th through 8th, 2026 on the Freedom of the Seas, Royal Caribbean Freedom of the Seas. So you can go to our website at thedownsized.org and click on the cruise tab and check that out. Also, while you're on the downsized.org, you can do other things like sign up for our email list or click on our Amazon store. We're Amazon affiliates. So I've got some products, some GLP-1 products I've used along the way that may be of some help to you. If you'd like to come on the Downsized Dish, you can click on the Downsized Dish tab and fill out a little form, and you can come on and talk to me just like Jeanette did today. So I hope you'll like and subscribe to The Downsize. We do stuff every day, so community is so important in this journey, and we hope to be part of yours. So thanks, Jeanette, for talking with us today, and thanks everyone for watching. I'm Laraine Durham for The Downsized. We'll see you next time. Bye.